if it's conservative.
If you're looking for something liberal
and realistic, this is the place to be.
Hello, welcome to our podcast, the Yet to Be Named podcast, or the podcast with no name. The reason why it has no name is because we discuss anything and everything. As long as you are old enough to understand certain topics, we talk about it. We also delve into the gray areas of life, the things that your tetes don't want to talk about anymore, the things that your moms and dads wouldn't ordinarily feel comfortable to talk about. So we talk about that, and this is why we are here. On my left, I have Natasha. On my right, I also have Natasha, and I also have Kuda. What's up, guys? How are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good. All right. So today we want to talk about unequal yoking. Okay. I'm sure we have realized unequal yoking doesn't just affect marriage, but it affects relationships from all angles. All right. From friendships, from business partners, and all walks of life. Okay. So we want to talk about that today, and hopefully we can come to a conclusion. If not, we'll need God to help us to then understand. Yeah, maybe let's start as usual by defining what we think unequal yoking. I'm going to start from Kuda, and then we come to Natasha. Yeah, what do you think?
Unequal yoking, it's an union that is not even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's an imbalance in the union, so that's something that's unequal.
All right. Okay.
Well, I think it's when you're in a relationship or a situationship with someone.
Situationship.
Yeah.
Explain what situationship is.
A situationship, maybe it will be complicated somewhat. And then your decisions, your purposes, your values, they are incompatible with Jesus. That's what I think.
Okay. I would need you to go deeper, but it's okay. Yes. Natasha?
Right. So I'm just going to come from a definition of what a yoke is first. So a yoke, I think we call it joko and shona,
Joko, yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's this wooden thing that we put per mombe, like let's say 2 oxen, when we want them to, maybe we want to put a cut on them, or maybe we want to
Urima.
Yes, exactly. So from that now, when we say unequal yoking, I would like to think that maybe instead of putting an ox with an ox, you then put an ox with a donkey, which is more like a donkey has less power than an ox. So we're saying that they are not compatible in terms of their purpose and in terms of their like the power that they have. So it's to do with compatibility between maybe 2 people in relationships.
Okay. What's the point of that yoke on cows? Or what is its function?
Okay, the function is to control
Mhm.
to control the movement,
Okay.
and so that we can have like even power. The power that's being drawn from the ox should be even. So if you have one side that has got more power than the other, then we are not going to come up with very excellent results of what we are trying to do.
Okay, so the yoke is meant to keep the 2 cows moving at the same speed, same direction.
Yeah.
They also I would like to believe it's a benchmark of how fast or slow you should be going, and you have to be in agreement for you to be on the same yoke.
Yes, you have to be in agreement. Yeah.
Okay.
So even if you look at the yoke,
Yeah.
they don't put cows that are different in size.
I
They have
see
to
you.
be-
I see you.
Yeah. They have to be the same because that the yoke is it has got one bar, then the other two items
Yeah.
where they put on the neck, right? So it mustn't be like slanting to the other side, just to be even. So they take cattle that are similar in size, and that also have got similar weight. Yeah.
Okay.
But I've seen a scenario whereby they take a donkey and a cow side by side, and they put them side by side.
Natasha.
That's
Serious,
unequal
If that
yoking.
works.
because they'll be saying the donkey has got more power, and the cow it easily gets tired, so the donkey will keep moving.
Yeah.
And
But under normal circumstances, maybe that is the last resort for them to take a donkey and a cow. Under normal circumstances, either they take two donkeys or two cows at the same time, not one cow and one donkey.
okay,
Isn't a donkey lazy, guys? Because when you're saying that a donkey has more power and it will persevere throughout when the cow is now tired, I feel like a donkey is more lazy. I think it will just sit down when it feels like it's now tired and you can't move it even if you try to hit it or something like that. So I don't think it will work.
I know for a fact that a donkey is stubborn. A donkey is stubborn, so if no matter how hard you hit it, it will not move. So the concept of a donkey, the concept of a donkey and a cow on one yoke, that one is a trick.
Those are two parallel lines.
Yeah.
You can't, you just can't.
But anyway, yeah,
at Mtoko, at our rural areas, that's what we do, guys.
that's what you do.
All right. So I have the supporting verse of what we're saying. It's Deuteronomy 22, verse 10. It says, "You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together." So if the Bible is actually telling us that we can't do that, who are we to say that it will be possible?
Yeah, you guys need to go and read the Bible. Go. Talk. But anyway, let's bring this to context. To relationships. Let's explore the types. Let's just name them. We obviously want to discuss them in part 2 of this, but let's explore the ways in which we can be unequally yoked. The cliche one is marriage, right? Yeah. What else?
Relationships.
And situationships.
Yeah.
Then we also have friendships.
Okay.
Yeah, I think everything is just centered on the relationships, whether be it business, marriage,
I got particularly my aha moment came. I was reading a book called The Unfair Advantage, and it was talking about how choosing a right business partner matters, because sometimes you also need to understand what the level at which your business partner is. So, like for example, is if this is something that you're trying to make your main source of income, but your business partner wants it to be their passive income, then the goal there is different, because when that business is going down, you are at greater risk of losing out than your other person. So that person is definitely not the person to go into that particular venture with, because when a crisis hits, they can wait till 3 days later, right? Let's say maybe it's tax clearance, for example. They don't have a problem with renewing it instantly, the obligations. But for the other person whose sole provision comes from that particular venture, you are in trouble, because you need it to buy tomatoes tomorrow. So in terms of business, I got that you cannot be unequally yoked. You need to find someone who complements the energy that you are going to give. Yeah, that's on business.
All right. So we also have another unequal yoking form. I think financial unequal yoking. In terms of my relationships, So I think we should also consider that. Like, for example, let's say Kuda, I'm rich and you're poor.
No, I'm not poor.
You can't really like we're not that compatible, especially for you guys.
Because of
especially
money.
Yes.
You-
Because like there's some standards that I'm not really going to lower because I'm dating someone. Let's say I have a car, you don't have a car. Like it's if I didn't have a car, it meant that you were going to come and get me from my house.
So
right?
you can't come
So
get him now.
Me going to get him now, it feels kind of awkward.
What do you mean?
Well,
It feels
And
all-
Kuda also
But
will
the
feel
same thing-
insecure.
But
yes,
Because
exactly.
you men you've got insecurity issues.
Automatically you will feel insecure.
No, that's a stereotype. It's not a fact.
It's a fact.
No, it's a stereotype.
Men, you have got insecurity issues. Yeah.
Exactly, you do have.
Hey, let's stay away from insecurities of men. Anyway, Kuda, you wanted to say something?
I wanted to comment on what she said.
Mm.
What if I'm the one who's extremely rich and you're poor? Can you
That can't
Then
work.
that's fine.
What do you mean?
For me, it can't work because I can't be extremely poor and you're
That's
very
the thing.
rich.
So you're saying that
So I'm saying financially, we should not be unequally yoked. I think we'll need to delve into
Not
this
just
in
one
the
side.
next.
Or maybe you're talking
Next
about
episode.
class whereby you shouldn't be richer or you shouldn't be poor. You should be of the same class. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that can also be how
that's
we
an
can.
equal.
Because
yoking.
if you guys will be of different classes, you maybe feel insecure.
I think
both
the
of you.
the driving principle there should be: do your finances
Match
or,
with mine.
or no, even if they don't match, but to what extent does it affect your relationship?
It affects
It does
because
affect.
if this one is rich, or maybe this one is richer than Kuda. Kuda will feel less
This
important.
What? How? So you guys can't just eat a plate
And
of
if
salsa
this one has
together?
got more
It's not
money
like
than
we
Kuda,
can't.
she won't respect Kuda.
How? No, why? Where does respect come from?
But she'll be
Does
like,
it come from money,
yes,
or does it
because
come from
if she
him
can't
being a
humble
man?
herself because she has money, she will see Kuda as exactly.
Thank you so much. So the problem with is with her.
Not
She
really
is not
with
humble.
me,
Not really
but
with you.
also with him because you automatically feel inferior because I can afford whatever I want
But
to
in the
buy.
first place-
He can't
You
buy
can't
me
buy
anything,
anything.
that I can afford.
No, in
Let's
the
say I
first
want
place-
a Brazilian, which goes for like $500, and his salary is nowhere near $500.
Yes.
He's going to feel like he's not man enough to be able to take care of me.
And you would think she's cheating.
Kuda.
Okay, but in the first place,
Uh.
why did you have to agree to me going after you when you knew that I'm way below your class? Then you're starting to come up with standards. Hey, this guy is not rich. In the first place, you said you love me, and So now, what's the issue?
For me, I think that there comes in the aspect of us knowing what dating is. So we need to date first before we engage. But you guys pressurize us into going into courtship. So we'll then have to reap the repercussions of us running into these things before we know each other fully. Because you don't know whether you're going to be able to accommodate whatever I will do in the future. When I ask you to buy me, maybe you're looking at me and you think that she's never going to ask me to buy a Brazilian, but I need it. And I'm just going to ask you to buy it for me. But because you can't now, you're going to feel less of a man because you're saying this person that I'm dating, I'm not being able to provide for them.
Okay.
So are you guys saying that we shouldn't be unequally yoked, or rather, finances are a form of unequal yoking? Is that what you guys are saying?
In other words,
Like
we are
if you guys
saying-
are in different worlds, different classes, are you saying this has never worked before?
Let me give an example. Is it possible for maybe a vendor to go and ask for the president's daughter's hand in marriage?
Yeah,
Is that possible?
it's possible, but
It's
that can't
possible,
happen.
but then, thank you. It can't happen. Why?
They're different.
Thank you. That's what she's
no,
saying.
but that's an extreme case. Okay, let's say you're both in university, you're both at usage, and she drives to school to classes, he's working, why then are you judging him for a potential he's yet to have? You're both in school. You are expected to be students. All right. So anyway, are you guys saying that finances are actually one of the ways we can be unequally yoked?
Yes, they are.
It's actually one of it. Look at this example. You go for a girl who is coming from a rich family. You're coming from a poor family. These guys, like whatever they do, going for holidays to them is normal. Maybe you've never been to a holiday, right? Then maybe you wanted to go out for a date on a Sunday. Let's say you want to go for ice cream at Gelato there, right? Then she says, I'm traveling. I'm going to be traveling for the next 3 weeks. She seems like she substituted your date with you wanting to be with your family. But to her, it's normal life. So you won't understand why she said, I can't come. But maybe she's flying at night.
Okay, so wait. At the beginning when we started, remember the yoke, right? Have you ever seen that sometimes the cow, there's one cow that's very stubborn, it's refusing to be on the yoke. What happens to it? They eat it until it gets tired, and they calm it down until it gets to what? Into form.
I'm getting where you're going.
Yeah.
They should just replace it, guys. And not heat it until it goes onto it. Don't you have a lot of cows that you can replace the other cow with? Because you can't be forcing it when it doesn't want. Replace it.
I see. Anyway, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about friendships now. Let's talk about friendships. Okay, so you guys have agreed that relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend, finances matter. So you cannot be unequally yoked with someone who's on the borderline. All right. Let's talk about friendships. Is it possible to be friends with someone who's in a totally different world to you? For example, I like to give this example. Whether it's a guy or it's a girl, but your best friend offers services in exchange to married women and married men in exchange for rental payments. They've got a nice little Honda Fit that they drive, and all this is you are aware that they are getting this through offering services to, number one, married men or married women. Okay, and you call yourself a Christian, and this is your best friend, and does that work?
For me, personally, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Personally.
Why?
Because we can't treat them like she's an outcast or something. You can't isolate her just because of that. What if one day, someday, she's going to change and come to your church? You just keep telling her it's not good, what you're doing is not good. Then you tell her, you help her to change.
You know what? The funny thing is, one day when you then get married, that person is going to sleep with your husband. How will you feel?
Why would she sleep with my husband when she has got a husband?
Okay. My question to you is, are you going to, all right, there's an example in the Bible whereby the Lord says that he'll keep on knocking at the door. And if you don't hear his voice, maybe he's going to give you a leeway to say, maybe during such and such a period, I would have tried to make you change. So how much of a period are you going to give that friend of yours to say, I'm telling her to stop doing this, and then they continuously do that? How much of like the patience are you going to have for you to tell her continuously to say, don't do this, and they have to do it all the time?
Guys, me, I'll always keep on being friends with her.
Okay.
Because I believe someday she will change. If I leave here, what will happen to her? Who will play with her?
So play with people of like mind.
The problem now is when you now practice the same thing as she's doing.
All right. I think somehow it's not really about you practicing some of the things that she's doing, but you're not seeing the harm that that person has to you. So giving an example, I have a friend of mine who would play with a freak friend, like you're saying, someone who would go, like Ron was saying, someone who would sleep with other people's husbands in exchange for money and all that, right? So then she was saying the same exact things that you're saying right now, to say she will never do something bad to me and eventually she will change. But you don't know that, you don't have that assurance. So later on, that friend of hers slept with a boyfriend, and that hurt her way too much, to such an extent that she then started cutting off every other person who was a freak in her life. So I'd like to say to you, in as much as you're hoping for that person to change, you need to be awake, like you need to know how they might hurt you in the process. Not just them hurting other people, but they might hurt you one way or the other.
Yeah, and also to support what Natasha is saying, the Bible says, bad company corrupts good company. This is God who wrote this. Like, you might have your own opinion, but one of the good days, they will tell you, let's try this, and you're going to do it. It's just one day.
Now that's peer pressure.
And also, Amos 3 verse 3 says, can two work together unless they have agreed?
So essentially, what you're doing, Natasha, is you know your friend sleeps with married men, so you are in support of what she's doing by not reproving her and keeping her close to you. You are accepting that she is what she's doing is correct, because if you are you are an accomplice. Actually, you are actually an accomplice in that scenario. So not to say leave her alone.
Mostly when you have someone who sleeps with married men, she won't tell you.
That they do.
She won't.
You will know.
She won't tell you. She will keep those secrets.
Okay, no, but your common sense should tell you. You both work at the same job. You are both earning less than $500. You come to work with a combi. She drives to work. Okay, you've been to her home. She comes from
Poor background.
She just comes from a normal home.
And his iPhone 14 Pro Max.
Pro Max, you know.
Guys, it's normal. Some boyfriends buy these iPhones for their girlfriends on their birthdays. Yes.
Which boyfriends are these? I did not know about.
You guys.
You know her boyfriend, and you know that he can't afford a lot of the things that she has. Where do you think she's getting them from?
Boyfriend actually uses an Android.
Exactly.
For that matter. She's got a.
No, that's obvious.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. We are saying in a scenario like that, you can clearly see that your friend, even though she has a boyfriend, but there are certain things that don't match in her life. I mean, it's okay to come from a wealthy background, but for knowing your friend and you know where they come from, then all of a sudden she now has a booming lifestyle, and you know, and you now are convinced that this is what she's doing. You know.
So should I say it's over between me and you because of what she's doing?
I think let's discuss that in episode 2, and we will give verses. We will give you many verses for you especially.
Yeah.
All right. Any last words from you guys before we round up this session? Natasha, before we go on to the second session?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment?
Okay, I think the basis of unequal yoking starts from religion.
Okay.
Yes, because you find that religion touches everything, every aspect of life, be it socially, politically, everything. It starts from there. So if you are having same religious beliefs, then the ground is level for you to equally yoke.
Okay.
Yeah, I also think culture as well has an effect on unequal yoking. Because if you guys come from different culture, you share different cultural beliefs. You are not going to be on the same ground. Even when you get married, maybe they believe if a child is born, they have to cut a piece of hair and then use it for something. And as Christians, we don't believe in such things. So obviously, you guys will have different beliefs, cultural beliefs. And even when you try to tell your kids we don't eat pork, and maybe they in their culture they use pork for other certain things, you're always going to clash.
All right, we are going to close it off for now. This is the podcast with no name, and we are discussing unequal yoking. In the next episode next week, we want to then understand from the Bible what does the Bible say, and we also want to explore further examples that can be contextual to what we're doing. So don't go away. See you next week in the next episode.
If is conservative.
If you're looking for something liberal.
And realistic, this is the place to be.